J.J. Abrams and Chris Terrio have a lot to offer when it comes to Star Wars Episode 9 by combining all 9 movies into one massive film and by also applying a lot of prequel trilogy content. This is Mike Zero here. If you guys are new to the channel, do make sure to subscribe to see future Star Wars content. Now, looking at everything here for Star Wars Episode 9, we do know that Disney is treating this film as a course correction technique and as a way to fix the Star Wars franchise and the sequel trilogy itself. Now, can they actually do that is another question open on the table for discussion. But looking past all of this, we do know that George Lucas will have a hand in Episode 9 to a certain extent, as well with Star Wars The Mandalorian. I don't know if you guys actually heard about this, but George Lucas is actually lending some advice over to Dave Filoni, Bryce Dallas Howard, and even, yes, Jon Favreau, the writer of Star Wars The Mandalorian. Same thing goes as follows for Star Wars Episode 9, and we've been hearing about this on and off these past couple of months, very lightly involving George Lucas and him helping out JJ and Chris Terrio for Star Wars Episode 9. Now, what's really interesting is that George Lucas and his involvement in this film won't actually even be a thing until the new year of 2019, just before they actually end filming for Episode 9. And it's actually said that it's all going to have to do with a scene involving Luke Skywalker, and as a way to make sure that the end of the Skywalker saga is done right and through George Lucas's eyes. Now, he actually did something similar in a sense with the character of Han Solo in Solo, A Star Wars Story, for one of the scenes. Now, apparently for Episode 9, George Lucas will be directing a sequence in Star Wars Episode 9 in order to help out both Abrams and Chris Terrio for the character of Luke Skywalker. So, a lot of people are starting to question themselves. Could this have something to do with a Force ghost, or quite possibly even a flashback of Luke Skywalker? I know a lot of you guys out there aren't too crazy about Luke being a Force ghost, and that's 100% understandable. I know a lot of people didn't want to see Luke Skywalker die in The Last Jedi, and that they would have rathered him die in a blaze of glory at the very end of Episode 9. And that's exactly how I felt. At the very end of The Last Jedi, it sort of felt like that was, the moment that should have been saved until the very end of the sequel trilogy. But looking at George Lucas, I think that this is a great move by Disney and Lucasfilm. I think it's a good move by George himself in order to get involved with Star Wars, even if it's just a little bit, even if it's a minor thing, in order to steer things in the right direction, not just for the character of Luke, but also for the overall tone of Star Wars Episode 9, when it comes to the character of Luke Skywalker. And I think that is indeed one of the main selling points of the sequel trilogy, is, of course, Luke Skywalker. In The Force Awakens, it was all about finding Luke. In The Last Jedi, it was all about Luke and his, his story about him essentially being on the island of Ahch-To. But how it was done in The Last Jedi is something that a lot of people disagreed with. And now apparently in Episode 9, it's all going to be about Luke Skywalker's legacy and his impact on the galaxy. So that's one thing to take note of here, is that George Lucas will have a hand in one of the scenes for Star Wars Episode 9, and that specific scene will have to do with the character of Luke Skywalker that is set to be shot at some point in time in 2019, most likely in January, since they will be ending filming in February of 2019. Now, there's a lot of things going on for Episode 9. We do know that they're shooting over in Jordan. They plan on shooting over in Italy, Ireland, and even California. So a lot of exterior shots will be done for this film to make it seem all the more authentic than the past 2 Star Wars movies. Now, I would love to ask each and every one of you, how do you guys feel about George Lucas being involved in Episode 9 to a certain extent? Does it actually make you feel like you want to go ahead and see the movie more, or do you guys really not care all too much about George Lucas having a little bit of a hand in Star Wars Episode 9 when it comes to the portrayal of the character of Luke Skywalker? But anyways, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know what you think about all of this in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.
nights alone, we hear them once again.